Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Tuesday, July 29th. I'm your host, Bree Cox Kennedy. Hope everyone's morning and day is off to a wonderful start. I would like to know how many of you are struggling with seagulls nesting on your homes and having babies, creating quite the commotion. It's actually quite comical, to be honest with you. But anyway, that has nothing to do with today's show. On today's show, we've got Amazing Hearing with Dr. Gabrielle Rodriguez and Ann Mundell Noel. They're going to be telling us what sets Amazing Hearing apart from all the other brands. Later in the show, we've got Home Helpers with Dwight Brown, and he's going to be telling us about licensed caregiving versus unlicensed caregiving and the problems that it could cause. So you're going to want to stay for our entire show. But first, folks, we want to keep you informed. We've got new community center after hours access. Starting Friday, August 1st, community center doors will lock at 5 p.m. on weekdays. So from 5 to 9 p.m., residents can enter through the front doors using your valid ID card. Then on weekends, doors stay locked all day. Entry is available only from noon to 5 p.m. through the front doors, again with your resident ID. After hours access is limited to those using table tennis room or attending a paid Elm Room reservation. So if your ID card doesn't work, folks, visit the community services to update or replace it. Let's take a look at our 5-day weather forecast. We are still in the pattern these days, starting off with cool, lingering morning clouds, but sunshine is expected to break through by midday. The highs will reach comfortable 81 degrees today with almost a 20-degree swing as overnight lows come in at 63. These conditions will remain with us for the rest of the week with slightly lower temps before the weekend, where we will see more sunshine and the highs up to about 85 degrees. Looking forward to that. This morning's sunrise was at 6:01 a.m. Sunset will be at 7:52 p.m. This photo was sent in to us by Diane Strobel. Very, very cool photo, Diane. Thank you for sending it to us. This was Beverly Hills Garden Park, Los Angeles. If you'd like to send us your amazing photos, we'd love to share them. Please email them to us at lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Please send us your name, where the photo was taken from, and in a horizontal format, please. We have just a couple of meetings to share with you, and then after the break, Amazing Hearing. Stay with us.
Hearing is part of your foundational health. Having the best hearing you can affects every aspect of your life. Hearing is related to your balance, your memory, your communication, and your overall positive well-being. Hi, I'm Ann Mundell Noel, owner of Amazing Hearing. As an audiologist, my passion is to give you the best hearing health available based on your individual needs. Call us today to schedule an appointment. We're located in the Trader Joe Shopping Center.
And welcome back to the program. We're going to talk about hearing, and no better persons to talk about that than Ann Mundell Noel and Dr. Gabriella Rodriguez from Amazing Hearing. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we're just talking about 3 times in a row, you guys have been voted by the Orange County Register as the best place to get your hearing done and hearing checks right here in Orange County. What sets you guys apart? What is it that you do that keeps that consistency?
I think the number one thing is our education and our experience. I think we're a really good team. Being audiologists, Anne has a master's degree, I have a doctorate degree, Anne has 30 plus years of experience. So we really work together to keep the patient the primary focus. And then the products and the services we offer, we really try to look at everything big picture, not just one solid problem. quick fix and goodbye. We really want to provide hearing health care.
Well, I don't want to brush over that. 30 years of experience. What have you seen over these decades that has just been the biggest changes? So the technology that's come into this field?
For sure.
Yeah.
So when I started back in the 80s, we used a screwdriver and a potentiometer to change the settings in the hearing aids.
Oh my goodness.
There was nothing digital. Digital hearing aid technology didn't become available till the late 80s, early 90s. And so even then we were using cords and all kinds of things. And today we have wireless, right? We're with Bluetooth technology. But the biggest thing about that is that you can now, the technology is so good, you can make so many more changes and make it applicable for people.
When I was a kid, I went to Taft Elementary in Santa Ana, and Taft Elementary was a dual school. It had a deaf school for the
hard of
deaf,
hearing.
and it had hard of hearing, and it had a kind of like the mainstream students. And when we'd go over there, we'd learn sign language. I could still do A, B. I could still do some of those things.
Good for you.
And but I remember the tech they used to wear. It was like it was wired, and they had wire things on their chest sometimes. And it's really changed to where you wouldn't even know if someone's wearing a hearing aid today.
For sure. The technology, though, is also driving more people to do things at an earlier age because there used to be such a huge stigma about hearing loss, that it was, you're old or, really deaf. And now we're getting people with very mild hearing loss, sometimes not even much hearing loss at all, but because of tinnitus, they're coming in. So we work with two great products, Widex and Oticon,
That's what I was
and
gonna ask you
those
about.
are
Right.
the industry leaders for us because they really do something different than most other hearing aids.
We'll talk a little bit more about it. What is it what rigors do you put it through before you say we're going to start offering this to our patients?
It has to be research backed. There has to be white pages and research supporting the claims that they make, not just claims from a marketing department. And then honestly, what our patients tell us back. What is happening in the real world in our patient's life. I would say they're not a textbook. You're a real person with a real life, and it needs to make sense for you day in and day out. So we heavily rely on what patients report back.
Okay, so how are these two products that you just mentioned kind of improving what you already have?
So they keep coming out with the state-of-the-art products, but the Widex truly and Oticon now have technology where it's AI-based. So using artificial intelligence, it's helping to pick out what is speech, which is spiky, and what is background noise, which is steady state, and to lift it from the background noise. So the bigger part about that is just that the technology is seamless and it's easy, and people say it's very natural and comfortable. But the engine under the hood, if you will, the way it processes is totally different than all the other manufacturers. So it's not a Costco hearing aid, it's not some of the other brands, it's a different quality.
And let's talk a little bit about Lace AI Pro. AI's in there, so I already know it's got some advanced stuff in there. So what's going on with that new technology and that product?
AI can be a scary word for a lot of people if they don't understand it, right? So in this particular thing, Lace AI is a hearing therapy that's working really on memory, speech, and noise. But where the AI comes into play is it is learning you and your abilities. It also has a wide range of topics to choose from, so it'll never get boring. So as you go through this hearing therapy and you're really honing in on the skills, starting to feel more confident with listening and noise, the AI part learns, okay, this was a challenge for them, we need to bring it down to speed. Or they're really excelling at memory, let's make it a little bit harder. So now it's a more tailored version of an at-home therapy.
And who would be a candidate for using something like this? Why are people needing this kind of like learning in terms of the world of hearing?
Everyone's a candidate. Everyone struggles in background noise, right? So it's an app on your phone, and you have to purchase it through our office. You can't go through the iPhone or the App Store on your phone or the Google Play, the Play Store. But it's for people who are not ready to say, I need a hearing aid, but they want to practice learning how to hear speech and noise, rapid speech, and word memory. And it's for people who have a hearing aid that you're retraining your brain how to hear, or it's for people who've worn a hearing aid for a long time and they're still struggling. So think about it like your body and working out. Who should work out? Everybody. This is just a way that we get the sound from the ear to the brain, and then it's up to the brain to do the work.
Okay, so help me understand the difference. If I have a hearing aid and I've been listening and the sound's coming to my brain, how is it, because it's a different delivery system, does my brain have to learn it differently to pick out the sounds, or what am I training my brain to do with this technology?
Think of a muscle when you break your arm in a cast, and over time it kind of atrophies.
Okay.
When we've had a hearing loss for a long period of time, it can be similar to the brain's ability to listen to atrophying.
Okay.
So we need to kind of re-engage everything. The
Okay.
goal of the hearing aids is to collect the sound and provide that stimulation to your brain, but then your brain needs to know what to do with it. So the therapy is really focusing on bringing all these components together to give you a clearer sound, easy in speech, and kind of make them all work together.
Okay. And when someone comes into your office and they get that first diagnostic test and they kind of go through these things, what are some of the things you're looking for in terms of how do I pinpoint what this patient may need, whether it's a tinnitus or if it's just some hearing loss or the range of things that are going on?
That's a huge question. And that's truly what our case history does, and the ability of Dr. Gabby and I with 6 to 8 years of college experience in hearing science to diagnose and treat. Everybody is an individual.
Is there still a stigma behind, I need a hearing aid, darn it? And do people still resist, like, okay, if you tell them, hey, I think you might need a hearing aid, or still people going, no.
Of course, yeah, of course. There's always going to be, the ego. We're human beings. I think as more research has come out and it's really showing the long-term impacts on overall health and cognition, people are starting to be more receptive. I also think the hearing aids are getting smaller. They're doing more fun tech things with Bluetooth, and you're totally hands-free on phone calls, that it is becoming more and more accepted and less of a stigma. But
The other thing I'd add to that is our patient referrals. Patients are telling other people how good they're doing with the hearing aids. They're excited about it, and we get a lot of referrals from that. So it speaks for itself.
And your practice is growing, and that speaks for itself too, right? You're the bigger building now, and you've expanded.
Yeah.
Well, how's that growth been for you guys? Are you able to maintain enough people there? And
For sure. That's why we can have our hearing therapy classes. So once a month, we have a speech pathologist come in who is going to enhance people's ability to do lip reading. And she comes in and does classes for us, and we have other classes coming in. So everything's really expanding.
Yeah.
We're great. And we have a service desk. So people can walk in and have their hearing aids serviced right there. So
that's terrific, fantastic. And if someone comes in, last question, comes in with a cost goer and says, hey, can you help me out with these things? Do you guys still, hey, even if we didn't sell it to you, we're still going to try to make what's best for you?
For sure. Yep. And our hearing aids are not locked. So even if somebody came in with a locked hearing aid, which means it has proprietary software like Audibel, Miracle Ear, Beltone, we can look at it. We can tell them what needs to be done. We just can't do it because the software is locked.
Okay.
But we certainly can help just about everybody who walks in the door.
Again, we're back on track. All right. And Dr. Gabby, thank you so much for amazing hearing, for coming in. Appreciate it. And we'll hope for that 4th in a row for our Orange County Register.
Yeah.
All right. You're watching ThisDay. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Ready to improve your hearing? Start with Amazing Hearing and audiologist Ann Mundell-Noel and Dr. Gabby Rodriguez.
We have been voted #1 place to buy hearing aids in Orange County for 3 years in a row. The products we use aren't found at big box stores because quality matters.
We have the experience, education, and expertise to maximize your hearing. Improve your hearing, balance, and memory. Call today to get started.
Do you or your loved ones want to continue living at home safely, but are starting to see signs of Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's? Maybe it's recent strokes or falls. Having a caregiver at home can be the best way to keep you in home safely. Home Helpers has been providing caregivers for over 25 years. Call us today or join us at Laguna Cafe for free pie and coffee, and we'll answer your questions about caregiving. It's the first Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m., and space goes quickly, so RSVP now.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Here to help us understand and navigate the differences between licensed in-home care and what could be referred to as under-the-table caregiving. We've got Dwight Brown with us here today with Home Helpers.
Good morning. Nice to see you
Hi.
again.
Nice to see you too.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Dwight,
Thank you.
this topic, we actually touch on it quite a few times on the show here on this day. I'm super grateful that you're here to talk about it again because it is so important.
It is.
So let's start off by just telling our viewers what is the difference between an in-home licensed caregiver versus somebody who is not licensed.
So I'm gonna start with a disclaimer on this whole topic that I'm not a lawyer, and so any advice that I give or anything we talk about, it's not legal advice. And
Probably something that you've lived with.
yes, I
though.
deal with this a lot. And number two, I don't want to come across at all as disparaging anyone that's working under the table. I think there are probably excellent caregivers that are getting paid under the table. They want to get paid without taxes. They work for cash. They're probably wonderful and amazing workers, so I don't want anything that I say to come across as being against them.
Fair.
So the difference is, as a licensed home care agency, I'm licensed through the California Department of Social Services. So all of my business is regulated by the state, and all of my caregivers are licensed by social services, background checked by social services, and approved to work by social services. In addition to that, they are all my employees. So I'm not even allowed to hire 1099 contractors. Everybody has to be a W-2 employee. And the reason that's important is insurance. So not only do I comply with all labor laws, paying them regular time, overtime in the state of California, they accrue legally sick time. But most importantly, they're covered by my bond, by my workers' comp, and by my liability insurance. If they were 1099 contractors, for example, I could try to get away with just giving them some money saying, hey, overtime may not be necessary and you need to go get your own insurance. That's not legal. So the key point to this for my clients is if somebody's in your house and they slip and fall, that's gonna be on me. I'm insured, I have workers' comp insurance, and my workers' comp insurance is gonna pay for their injury. The most likely scenario is a back injury, that they're helping somebody in a shower or somebody that needs help getting up from the couch and they're gonna hurt their back.
Sure.
My workers' comp is gonna cover that. Another scenario that I've encountered over the years is that the caregivers will do cooking. If they burn themselves cooking, for example, that would be covered by my workers' comp. So an unlicensed caregiver working under the table, you are liable for anything that happens to them and they can take you to court and then it's on you to defend yourself. And there's a lot of lawyers here in Southern California. You see their billboards everywhere. Yes. They're gonna start looking at other things when they start looking at that injury. Did you pay minimum wage? Did you pay overtime? So I hate to come across as doom and gloom or as scare tactics, but it's just the reality of business.
I mean, these are the things that people need to understand and be aware of. This is a very important decision that people are gonna make and with long-term potential, right? So what would be the reason that somebody would feel okay hiring somebody who's unlicensed?
So most of the cases, and I hear this a lot in Laguna Woods, in the village, I think it's pretty common for your neighbors to have somebody, they love that person, and then they start working for you. Generally, it's gonna be cheaper. I would guess that the going rate is 40%, let's say, less than what I charge. And that 40% difference is payroll taxes, insurance, all of the accruals that I talked about. So I think that the main reason that people do it is it's going to be cheaper for them. For the caregivers, they're not paying income taxes, so they're going to make a little more money. And so they're appealed to the idea because they're saving money on it.
Yeah, but it's not always a safe environment in the end, right?
Well, so it's all about weighing out risks. So, and then this is maybe a personal and a family and a legal decision. So if you have a caregiver or you're thinking about hiring a caregiver under the table, I think it's something that you've got to talk about maybe with a lawyer to talk about what your risk profile is. Talk with your family about, because you're going to spend more upfront, but you're taking the risk that you could lose a lot of money if things go wrong. There are some additional considerations like insurance, for example. So I'm credentialed with the VA. And when I talk about insurance here, I accept some insurances that will pay for my services. The VA pays for my services as well. They will not use, obviously they're not allowed to use unlicensed caregivers. So if you have long-term care insurance or VA insurance, then obviously you have to go through a licensed agency. Individuals who are private paying can pay under the table, but again, it's something that you should discuss with a lawyer, a financial manager, and family to decide what risks are you taking and what would happen if things went wrong.
It always seems to me way too risky to go that route if you don't know this person, because everything starts off wonderfully, right?
Right.
You have you're excited, both parties are excited, you have a good relationship, and then things might start to turn into sort of a resentful position between one or the other.
That's why contracts and lawyers exist, right? It always starts off friendly and nice, and then in the end it's, oh, we should have done this with a contract, or then someone goes and finds a lawyer for it. Yeah, some of the stories that I've heard here are a little more complicated too. Here in the towers, I heard the story about someone who had a wonderful caregiver for many years, and then the last few months of life, he could no longer pay the wages for that caregiver. He just was incapacitated. He couldn't write the checks. The caregiver continued coming to work. And when the gentleman passed away, the caregiver was now owed past due wages. And so he took the next of kin, the children that were inheriting the estate, he took them to court and sued them for past due wages, not paying overtime, and won several $100,000, right? So it's in California, if you're not paying overtime or you don't pay wages on time, not only are you paying back, but then there's going to be penalties and penalties on top of that. And then the lawyers are going to take their part. And so you may save some money, but the downside could be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So in a situation like that, home helpers would be there to say, okay, this person is now incapacitated, not able to take care of themselves, not able to write the checks. That's where an agency like yours will really come in and bridge that gap.
Yeah, so in a scenario like that, I would be communicating with the family, and the family would be contracting me to take care of mom or dad at that point. And so the family would then be making the decisions. My employee is going to get paid no matter what. So you're protected in that I'm complying with all of the laws. If that caregiver gets mad and isn't paid or slips and falls, it's me that's paying for it. You are protected.
Right,
right. So we not only are we managing the relationship, but I take care of many people who go through life, and we take care of them while they're healthy but declining, and then we take care of them when they're no longer capable of anything at all, and we're helping with everything. We're managing that with the family.
Mm-hmm. So it's just a constant communication.
Correct.
That everybody's aware of everything that's going on with every single client you have.
Correct, yes. And in a scenario like that one, the caregiver is talking to me about what's happening in the house, or the caregiver is working with the family, but I'm there to ensure that things are legally compliant. Mm-hmm. There are other issues as well, that the caregivers in California are not allowed to do certain medical things. So if the caregiver in that scenario is put into a position where they have to do medical things, there's additional liability that they're doing things that they're not legally allowed to do. So I have to manage that as well.
Yeah. Thank you for shedding light on all of that. I know it's such an important decision for families to make.
It's a complicated topic.
It's very complicated, but I think you've opened up the pages and it really shown our viewers the pros and cons.
Yeah, and I get a lot of phone calls asking questions about these things. I work with some actual local lawyers and fiduciaries who call me for different scenarios that they encounter. So it happens a lot.
I can imagine what you encounter.
So I'm happy if anybody has questions about that. Call my office line. I talk about this a lot. And then the first Tuesday of every month, I have a meeting at Laguna Cafe, and people come and ask me a lot of questions like this about insurance, about the VA, about under the table licensed versus non-licensed caregiving. I'm happy to answer any of those.
Right, yes. Well, and I hadn't known that about the VA offering services.
Not common knowledge. So some of us agencies are credentialed with the VA. I'm one of them. And actually it's not well known that veterans can actually get caregiving paid for by the VA. So I have several clients here in the village who are with the VA and get 12 to 16, 20 hours a week of caregiving completely 100% paid for by the VA. So there are actually 3 programs for veterans, taking care of veteran spouses, and there's one that's actually a pension where the VA will actually just issue a check that is to be used to pay for caregiving. The other 2 I'm paid directly by the VA. This is something I navigate people through a lot of what are the processes of getting the VA to handle your caregiving. I get a lot of calls about this, and I kind of walk people through the process. We have a wonderful VA clinic right here on Moulton, where Polly's Pies is, and you can actually start the process there and go through the process of having the VA cover caregiving.
That is such valuable information. Thank you, Dwight.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
you being here.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after these messages with a couple of announcements. Stay with us.
Do you or your loved ones want to continue living at home safely, but are starting to see signs of Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's, maybe it's recent strokes or falls? Having a caregiver at home can be the best way to keep you in home safely. Home Helpers has been providing caregivers for over 25 years. Call us today or join us at Laguna Cafe for free pie and coffee, and we'll answer your questions about caregiving. It's the first Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m., and space goes quickly, so RSVP now.
In all stages of life, you care for those you love. With Band-Aids on scuffed knees, with home-cooked meals, with tight hugs and whispered words of encouragement on their wedding day. And in this new stage, advanced funeral planning with O'Connor Mortuary is another way to say, I love you. Call or visit o'connormortuary.com to start your pre-plan today.
Fires are contained and the rains have arrived. Now is the perfect time to prepare before the next major emergency. Do you have your go bag ready? A go bag is an emergency kit packed with essential items in the event of a quick evacuation. It should be easily accessible and light enough to carry. Some essentials belong in every go bag, like medications, food, water, first aid kits, and more. Check and refresh your go bag regularly. Be prepared and stay safe.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Have you ever made a sun catcher? It sounds really fun. The Florence Sylvester Senior Center is putting on a sun catcher making class. It's going to be a week from today, Tuesday, August 5th at 1:30 p.m. Reserve your space in class by calling 949-380-0155. You can put those beautiful pieces in your window and they're going to reflect the light and give you lots of rainbow prisms all over your house. So it sounds like a really fun class to attend. Let's take another look at our weather. Today's high is going to be about 81, low is going to come in at 63. So we've got those pretty cool overnight temperatures. Leaving your window open almost makes it feel like you've got your air conditioning on all night long. We continue this trend through Saturday, where hopefully we're going to break out of these clouds with a high of 85. So looks good for the weekend. Tomorrow on This Day, we've got a recreation update with William Arcero. He's always fun. They've always got lots of great events that you're going to want to write down on your calendar and hope to attend. After that, we've got an interview with a Ting associate. So we look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. That's going to do it for this episode of This Day. From all of us here, we wish yours a beautiful one.